Do you remember Transformers? Yeah. Several decades ago, these little plastic toys came out, and they were all the rage among 5 and 10-year-olds, especially 5 and 10-year-old boys. Transformers are these ingenious little gizmos that just look like your average, kind of human robot figure. But when they are moved by little tutored fingers and are pulled and flipped and clicked and switched, suddenly they are transformed. Well, not suddenly, they are transformed. And they usually become a car or a tank or a flying killer weapon attack vehicle. Wheels and wings and weapons are cleverly hidden inside the robot bodies. So these toys have a dual identity. And kids made Transformers enormously popular because the toy's ability to change before their eyes fascinated them, and their participation in it. You may not remember that the same year that Transformers began being sold, Arnold Schwarzenegger released the first Terminator movie. And Transformers were still all the rage when Schwarzenegger released Terminator 2 in 1991. All the characters from the original Terminator, that futuristic sci-fi run-for-your-life movie, were there, but there had been one important change. Schwarzenegger's character, the Terminator, had been transformed, or in this case, reprogrammed, and the Terminator had become a kind of guardian angel for the perpetually ever-pursued woman and child. Now, when the death-dealing villains awaited the protagonist, all of the good guys were immeasurably aided by their former enemy. At the end of the first Terminator movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger's droid famously vowed, "I'll be back." And his promise is fulfilled in Terminator 2 and all the subsequent movies, including the one that is about to come out. But in a totally unexpected way, the Terminator has returned as the ultimate good guy. These two postmodern examples, Transformers and Terminators, illustrate what it must have been like for Paul and Ananias and the other disciples who experienced the transforming grace and presence of Jesus Christ. If ever there was a Terminator character in the Bible, it was Saul. He enthusiastically earned his way onto the church's greatest enemies hit list. It's not surprising that when Ananias hears Saul is on the way to Damascus, he expects nothing less than the worst, a nightmare, a horror movie. Yet both men are transformed from the inside out. Saul, through his encounter with the living Christ on the road, spins 180 degrees in his orientation. That well of bitter hatred that he fostered within himself was purified by Christ's touch and transformed into an everlasting spring of love and forgiveness and good news. Ananias's fear and loathing of his persecutor is also radically changed by Christ's words. He is able to face this man who was his enemy with openness and acceptance, to touch him and heal him and welcome now a brother in faith. You know, part of what children found so entrancing about those little toy transformers is that that the robot aliens usually transform into some kind of vehicle that goes somewhere. It's a car, it's a plane, it's a ship, it's a tank. And now, the transformer is capable of doing all sorts of things it could never perform in its original form. And that is exactly what Christ's transforming love empowers us to do. We become vehicles for that love. And like Saul and Ananias, we are charged with carrying Christ, the good news, out into the world. Under the power of Christ's love, Saul becomes Paul, perhaps the single most influential figure in the history of the church. Ananias himself now becomes a vehicle that moves the church into the future, showing that the radical hospitality of Jesus Christ calls us to welcome others and shows us what it can create. Are there terminators in the church today or in our community? Individuals who love to disrupt any sense of harmony and Christian love that crops up. You know, the type that always have the statistics about the declining membership in churches right at hand, or the ones that point to all the things that have been said or done in the name of Christ that wreak havoc in the world. They can find a flaw in every plan and name dozens of reasons why the new inspired idea will not work. Can you go to them like Ananias, buoyed by the compassion of Christ, and offer them transforming love and acceptance? Can you find how Christ is calling them to be part of the church's future? Can our conviction that Christ is for all people and in all people and can transform all people give us courage and compassion to welcome and touch and teach? After all, transforming terminators is the legacy of the church. In the next few months, each of you will have many opportunities to listen deeply, extend grace widely, to carry someone else's burden, or to have your burden carried. You'll teach and be taught. You'll stumble and be picked up. You'll pray and sing and organize and disagree and forgive and begin again. In other words, you will be the church. You will not be waiting passively for direction or permission, because Christ is with you, and you will be moving and living and becoming. Because we are not passengers in this Christian faith. We are vehicles. We are carriers of Christ's love, bearers of transformation. We are still being changed and still changing the world. Alleluia. Christ is risen. Christ is risen.